Good morning, Gremolinos. This is the vlog that has been long awaited solely by me. Hi, in case you're new here, my name is Catherine. I am an asthmatic, mostly 10-fingered chaos reader. I do a lot of theme TBRs, and this one is themed kind of just like motherhood and family, 100% because of this book. I have been waiting impatiently for my Trad Wife hold to come in, and my Trad Wife hold came in, and I am going to read this book. Like, I plowed through the books I had. Like, I was filming another video just like on a whim because I still have a bunch of library books out, but I was like reading through those, and the hold came in and I still had 2.5 books left, I think, and I just like sped through them. I was like, I will knock out these books because I need to get to Trad Wife, because I'm so excited for this. I just like cannot wait to read this book. So I'm not gonna tell you anything except that I'm very excited for Trad Wife. I know it involves like a Trad Wife influencer, and she wants to get pregnant for like the sake of her content because being pregnant will be very helpful, but that's all I know, and I'm just really, really excited to read it. I just like the concept of it just like really gets to me. I don't even like watch Trad Wife content. I don't, but like the concept of Trad Wives on the internet is so wild to me. So I'm just like very excited. I'm currently wearing my cozy Hades Town sweatshirt because I felt like Hades, Persephone, spring, rebirth, possible demonic pregnancy. I don't know. I'm just very excited for Trad Wife. So the video involves books that are mostly tied to like motherhood or family, yeah, motherhood, family, children, around in there. There's one kind of outlier-y book because I'm just throwing it in here, but just know a lot of like motherhood family stuff in this one in terms of books. So yeah, I'm just excited. So this is kind of a rambly intro, but just know Trad Wife is the first book. I am incredibly excited. So I will talk to you later, Gremolinos, when I have some sort of update on Trad Wife. I'm just so excited. If you've seen my other videos, you know that I've been waiting so anxiously for my hold to come in. I'm so ready. All right, I will see you when I have an update. Hello, Gremolinos. In faux Trad Wife style, I'm making dinner. I'm not making anything fancy. I'm literally making, we've never had these before, which is a Velveeta skillet dinner. Krista found it, and I grabbed ground beef for it. So that's what's simmering near me, and I'm stirring it frequently per the directions. But I want to give you an update on Trad Wife. I was able to read a little before lunch, before work and during lunch. And okay, so we are following Camille. Camille has like a Trad Wife account. She's on Instagram, she's on TikTok. She's very obsessed with another Instagrammer named Mara, who has like a huge following and is like her pinnacle Trad Wife kind of inspiration. So she is married to, is his name Grant? I think it's Grant. Can you tell I don't really like the husband? Graham, it's Graham. So Camille is married to Graham, and they live out in the country, and she basically like got with Graham, eventually convinced him after they got married to buy a better house. She was living in his like bachelor pad kind of when they first got married, and so now they live in the country. They have like a sprawling amount of land, but she's home by herself a lot. Graham still works in the city and he commutes, and he's just been very busy lately, and so Camille is just home, spends a lot of time by herself, but she's kind of like sort of used to it. She does get lonely, but she's like, no, I'm like making the house nice, I'm caring for my husband. And they did agree that she should like be at home. He would be the primary provider. That was already established like very early on in their relationship, even before they got married, and that's what she does. Now the goal was to have a baby. They have been trying to have a baby, hasn't worked. Now they haven't really been trying, and that's really upsetting for Camille because she really wants to have a baby. We open, not as a spoiler, but we open with her like taking a home pregnancy test because she's really hoping, even though like she and Graham have not really been intimate. She's like, well, maybe it already took, like maybe that's why we're not being intimate. And it's very interesting. So Camille is very desperate for a child, and she makes a wish in this wishing well. It's in the woods off of her property, and you know, we get some imagery after that. That could be angels, could be demons, could truly be anything. But it keeps asking Camille why she wants this baby. Why do you want this baby? Why do you want this baby? And it has actually said it will give her a baby, whatever it is. So that's all we know, is that this thing has promised that Camille will have a baby, but she hasn't had the baby yet. She is not pregnant to our knowledge, where I am in the story. But like, it's going to happen. We know it's going to happen based on like the premise of the story. Also, I don't know why my nose is really red right there. Who knows? But yeah, so I am so intrigued. The writing is so good. Everything after the well with Camille and whatever entity this is so creepy. Like the writing is super creepy. Is it Saratoga Schaefer? They are doing an incredible job. Did I make up that name? Please let that be your name. Yeah, Saratoga Schaefer. They are doing an incredible job. Truly, truly am like so curious as to what will happen. Also, I hate Graham. Graham is definitely taking advantage of her, and the fact that she kind of wants a life of domesticity, but it seems like perhaps she just hasn't really had the choice to not have that life. So that is interesting, but I am loving it so far. I love hearing about how she's like obsessed with this Trad Wife mom that she's like following, and she's like, well, she has 8 children, and like I'm supposed to have children, I need to have children, like I need to have children for my channel, well, my account, and just because I like want a child. And she even like shares why she wants this child with the entity, which is so interesting. And I'm just like, I want to know, like I feel like the child has to happen. I also have an idea for a photo to take for the thumbnail / Instagram with this book, but I'm just so curious to see where it goes. And I do think I'll probably check out their other book, the Serial Killer Support Group, because I am really enjoying the writing so far, and I'm not even that far in, but I need to finish getting dinner together because I think it's about there. But I just want to let you know that I'm loving it so far. Very, very excited. I have been waiting for this hold so desperately, and I'm just like, I'm loving it. I'm loving this so far, and I have an idea based on like the positioning. I'm not gonna put a wig on though, I debated, but I think I'm gonna like put on a dress and like position the book. Also, I truly don't know. I haven't had glasses on, so I don't know what's happening here. But I am loving this, and I'm very desperately ready to read more of it. But I'm gonna turn this off, and I need to get dinner together. So I will talk to you later, Gremlinos. Oh, I can show you the dinner. It's not complete, but behold the book. This is roughly it. I have to add the Velveeta cheese packet, but this is fundamentally it. It's kind of like a beef casserole kind of thing. But yeah, but I'm gonna go talk to you later, Gremlinos. Hello, Gremlinos. It is like 7 o'clock at night on Thursday.
This game?
Kristen's playing this game on her phone that keeps driving her absolutely crazy.
Why would a loving wife let their
You
spouse
wanted to
do
play
this to
it.
themselves?
So, Kristen did have night court. Still technically has night court. She's just home for the moment. But yeah, so she's just kind of killing time while they wait for some stuff. But I'm here finally after a very, 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 very busy work day where I was in early. I stayed only like 10 minutes late. Part of that was just waiting for my computer to reboot. But like I did not get a lunch break. Like I was just working constantly.
You got lunch.
I just said I didn't get a lunch break. I got lunch. I was going to tell them. Krista bought me barbecue for lunch. I just had to eat while I was working. But it was brisket and broccoli salad and potato salad and cornbread, and it was very good. But I had to eat while I was working. But I finished Trad Wife, and it was incredible. Oh my gosh. So one.
What a fucking game.
Not very Trad Wife of her. Anyway, so this gets so bonkers. Like we know Camille gets pregnant. Like that's the premise of the book. We know she gets pregnant, and then like probably the baby is perhaps not normal. Oh my gosh. The setup of the baby, the setup of things during the pregnancy and like post-pregnancy and like all of that. Wild as hell. Like I just was like, oh my gosh. And like there's body horror, there is some aggressive stuff there. Curiously, we get some glimpses into Camille's past when she was much younger, like right before she went to college / started college. Chris is gonna keep yelling at this game. But it was so good. We do get an examination of like how Camille came to this like Trad Wife lifestyle, like how she came to see that as what she should do, and that was very interesting. I feel like some of the book gives me hints of Carrie in terms of like being raised by a parent who has very strict thoughts on the world. That does come into it, but there are a few other things that do come into it. But I was getting like hints of Carrie, a little bit of Rosemary's Baby, in part because Rosemary's pregnancy is very odd in Rosemary's Baby, and so like I was getting that a bit from Camille's pregnancy herself. But like it just gets so wild, so creepy. And also oddly, there is a romance element in this that I was not anticipating, but also was weirdly very into. Just like, I was like, oh, okay. All right then. And it was a delight. This whole book was a wild time. I'm so glad I got to read it. I am so glad my Libby hold came in. It just was it was better than I anticipated. This is like one of the few times where what I expected, like the book itself, exceeded expectations exponentially, and I had a fantastic time. It was incredible. Krista's flipping off her phone. She's just, here, I'll do it with this finger because it's slightly humorous to see me do it with this finger. She's just going like this to her phone over and over again. But yeah, so I highly recommend Trad Wife. I have also actually already requested Serial Killers Support Group, I think is the title. That is Schaefer's other book, and it sounded very interesting. I don't know when that hold will be in, but I requested it because I was very intrigued. But yeah, I think I'm going to read anything they write, honestly. I think they have something coming out about mermaids, maybe? I'm not sure. I saw something online, but I didn't read too much into it. I just like, Trad Wife was so good. It was everything that I expected and more. And oddly, there is another book coming out, I think, either this year or next year that is also called Trad Wife. But I think involves a trans woman, possibly? I feel like I saw something. I'll have to look it up and see if I can find it, but I swear another book called Trad Wife is coming out that has like a pregnancy storyline, but it is different, kind of, maybe. I mean, it would have to be, but like, I don't know. But this one was so freaking good. Saratoga Schaefer, incredible job. Absolutely adored this whole thing. It was so wild. Like, some of the things I just was like, what? What is happening? What? But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh, I actually have, I can't return it yet because I need the cover. Maybe I'll try and get the photo that I need tonight. But yeah, sure, at a funny angle. One sec. Do that back. The next book I will be reading, because I was going...
Kill you.
She's just yelling at her phone. So the next book I will be reading is The Unmothers by Leslie J. Anderson. I don't know anything about this book except that it has something to do, I believe a baby is born of a horse, I think. I'm not really sure, but this is the other book that I'm reading. Well, the next book I'm reading. They're both on my iPad, which is why I'm reading both of them back to back. She's talking about little thingies in a game. Is it mice, rats, or snakes?
It's cats that are multiplying right now. They're throwing bombs at me.
Oh no. Okay, so the game is wild. It has, I don't know. She had me play around and I was really confused. But yeah, so the next book will be The Unmothers. I don't know if I'll read any tonight or not. We'll see. But I absolutely love Trad Wife. I may at some point buy myself a copy. Oh, or put it on the Christmas list. Or birthday list. We shall see. But I'm gonna go. But yeah, so I'll talk to you about Unmothers next, but oh my gosh, Trad Wife was incredible! Okay, I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later, Grandmolinos. I'm not sure when, but at some point. Hello, Grandmolinos. I am incredibly backlit by this light. I am on my lunch break and I'm about to rush out the door because I have to go get a shot. It's not a big deal. I just have to go to my doctor's office. Very quickly, behold, Unmothers sitting over there. I started reading that last night. Oh, I'm backlit again. Can I just like, I'll just lean. That'll work. Now I look very angelic, I guess. So I started reading Unmothers last night and it's a multiple POV book. So we're getting a number of people who are in this particular town where there was like a tabloid article saying a horse gave birth to a human baby, and Marshall, that's her last name, but she is listed as Marshall consistently, has been sent by her newspaper for a week to cover the events in town, like to get some kind of story about this baby born of a horse. But this is mostly being done because there's some kind of tragedy. We haven't gotten all the details of it, but it seems like Marshall has had kind of a huge life upset that has caused her to kind of exhibit some self-destructive behavior, and her editor kind of was like, and you're gonna go cover this story out here. And it seems like a story they don't even typically cover, but what's wild for Marshall is once she gets there, while people are kind of like, whatever, they're kind of like talking around this story of like a horse giving birth to a baby. Someone at some point is like, no, like the horse probably had a foal and like the foal died and they're like covering it up, or like like, there's just sort of like random stuff. And someone's like, no, that's definitely like a baby that was born because that guy named Roz had a girlfriend, he got her pregnant, and they're just like pretending something weird happened. But like, we don't know is the weird part, because a vet talks about it and she's basically like, no, there wasn't a foal. I showed up, there was a baby, and I was like, I can't help you with babies. I'm not a doctor, I'm a vet. And so we like aren't sure, and we're getting hints that there's some kind of like superstitions in the town that are very odd, like almost fae-like. There's a mention of having to put out milk and sugar, milk and specifically brown sugar, near the church, but no explanation of why, just that you have to do it. Also, someone has mentioned something about like, I'll tell the forest about you. And we're getting the idea that there are superstitions that are very deeply embedded in the town, but also the town is very interconnected with horses. Horses seem to be like kind of the lifeblood of the town. And there's like a big feud about some sort of horse that connects Roz's family, that's Roswell, the father presumably of the baby, and some other family that like ties back to some odd horse sale a long time ago, but like some tragic event occurred and it's not tied to the baby technically, but it's all very odd. And so like, it's very interesting because there are so many points of view, but like, I don't know how to explain it to you except like, sorry, my asthma is trash today. Like, my asthma is acting up, my nose is super runny. The weather is weird. It's been super cold and now it's like almost 60 degrees, if not 60 degrees. It's just been weird. It's messing with everyone's sinuses. Chloe has also had a runny nose. Also, Chloe was not feeling well last night. She was like very clingy and like cuddly for a while in bed. And then this morning her, this is slight TMI, but like she had like little dots of bright red blood in her poop, which is not great, but her behavior after the cleanliness from last night, she finally like got up, moved around, did her normal like nighttime routine of getting next to the fan and going to sleep. Like after that, she was totally fine. Her appetite's been fine, drinking water's been fine. And admittedly, little bits of like bright red blood in a typically normal poop for dogs can just mean that their digestive system is upset. So we're just trying to like give her only chicken right now and not give her kibble, because like maybe we gave her a lot of cheese bones this week, those like yak chews, and like she may have had too many. They're kind of tough. She has really strong teeth, but it is very possible that she just had too many, or like they were really rough on her stomach, so she's not having any today. And like she chews them very fast, so it is very possible she just had too much cheese bone, or like she just ate something that like messed with her stomach. She's had like a teeny bit of people food, nothing crazy, like she had a french fry and stuff, but maybe some fluke thing bothered her stomach, because again, everything else is totally fine. And we're just like keeping an eye on it. She has a vet appointment tomorrow, or we would be like more urgently trying to see if she needed to go to the vet, but she is seeing the vet tomorrow for a checkup. If you don't know, she had her spleen removed. And now she has IMHA as a complication from the spleen rupturing prior to surgery. There's a tumor on the spleen. Just if you're new here and you don't know why I'm like very in depth talking to you about Chloe. But she, like that's going on, and we're keeping an eye on the IMHA, where she's getting like a lot of medicine for it, and the medicine is all actually very rough on a dog's stomach. It's a steroid, it's a very intense antibiotic because they're trying to level some stuff out. So hopefully Saturday they'll take her off the antibiotic at least, and then maybe that will also help with the stomach. Maybe just like, maybe they're just acting up, I don't know. But she's acting fine overall. She's also very mad at me because I gave her chicken instead of a Dentistick, which is one of her favorite treats. They love those things. They're just like these little green, they're actually called like Vegident or something, I don't know, but they're obsessed with them. But I didn't want to give it to her because it's kind of like hard. It probably would have been fine, but I gave her chicken instead, and she was like, I didn't get my stick. And I was like, well, you got chicken. And she was looking at me like I had ruined her life. But yeah, so there's that. But this clip has been too long. Back to the Unmothers. The story is, I'm very captivated. Like, I want to know what's going on, and I want to know if like my thoughts on the Fae tie into this, because I just feel like it feels very Fae, like a child born of a horse. And then like they mentioned Marshall mentioned seeing a horse that has blue eyes, and she's like, they're too human, those eyes. Like, so I'm just like, is it like changelings or something? Like, I don't know. I'm just intrigued, and I do like a multiple POV kind of story. I think it's fun. So I'm just very much looking forward to seeing where this goes. I'm about half-ish way through, but I do need to go. I'm just already marked at lunch. Sorry, there's fuzzy on my face. Yep, big fuzzy from my blanket / the cat. Yes. Oh, I'm also wearing, just for your knowledge, you can't really see it in the photo I took. I'm wearing my haunted my Sleepy Hollow shirt with the Headless Horseman because it has a horse. Also, I may be enjoying this book because I was definitely a horse girl growing up. I didn't have horses. We were not a family with the means for horses. But I went to like a Girl Scout horseback riding camp where I got to ride like a trail horse. And I had a friend when I was very young who, not Chris, like elementary school. Her family had horses. And I went riding with her like one weekend. Because I like spent the night at her house and she was like, oh, we're going horseback riding, do you want to come? So like I have ridden, but I'm not like a horse, like I'm just a casual person who rode a horse once. Krista's family though, very into horses, which is surprising to me. And not in a bad, I just like don't quite understand how people get into horses, especially if you're not from like the upper echelons of society, because I feel like horses are very expensive. So like I don't quite understand, like I don't know, this is not like a snub or like a snide remark. I just like don't understand how casual people get into horseback riding. And like they've owned horses, they actually still own a horse. They at one point owned 2 horses and one of them did pass away, but he was very old. But they currently have a horse. Like her parents own a horse. It's boarded somewhere. I've never met this horse. You would think I would have. Her mom casually mentions occasionally that we could like go see this horse, but I've never gone. I would ride the horse. I would love to ride a horse. I've been told I have good hips for horseback riding, because I'm a very pear-shaped lady, which is barely good for horseback riding. I don't know. But yeah, I just don't know how you like got into horseback riding as like normal people with normal money. But that's just an opinion I have. I just like, it confounds me when people are like, oh yes, I have a horse. Like Krista told me her parents had a horse and I was like, what? She's like, yeah, they have a horse. And this was the horse that has passed. But I was just like, how do your parents have a horse? Like I was just like, what? Huh? And just like, she's trying to explain. Her mom really loves horses. But also I was like, how does one pay? Like my whole brain was just like, how? But maybe one day I will meet their horse that they randomly bought. I think she's a retired racehorse or was very bad at being a racehorse. I don't know. Just random asides. I love horses though. Still obsessed with horses. I watched Black Beauty a million times as a child and I would still play Barbie Horseback Rider if it worked on a modern day computer. But I gotta go. I'm just babbling at you and I think I have to go outside because I have to meet Krista in the driveway. But yeah, I am enjoying Unmothers probably because I am a horse girl who also likes horror. I feel like that's what we're getting here. I like a thing that reminds me of my childhood nostalgically, but is also horror. Like The Burial Tide, The Secret of Roninish, but make it horror. So yeah, I need to go though. I will talk to you later, Gremolinos. That was a very long, ranty thing. Don't expect any horses in this video besides the shirt. I'm not gonna suddenly show you a horse. It's not a thing I have access to. But yeah, I will talk to you sometime either later today or this weekend. I don't know. It's a whirlwind weekend this weekend, so who knows. But talk to you later. Hello, Gremolinos. I know you can't see me. I'm currently making my new coffee. This came this morning. It's part of my like free Joffrey's for a year. This is my 7th bag. It's Bananas Foster, which is a little tricky for me. So it's a goofy fun fact. I recently realized that banana flavor sometimes gives me heartburn. I knew artificial banana did, but Krista and I had banana splits like a couple months ago and I had horrible heartburn after I ate part of the banana. But I've already had a cup of this and I've been okay. So I'm hoping that like the coffee, whatever is making it banana flavor, is just maybe not the thing that gives me heartburn. I don't know, it's very weird. But I'm using my Death Before Decaf cup, because I love this cup. And I'm wearing a fun outfit that you're gonna see soon, but I'm brewing some coffee and I'm technically on like a quick break because I need coffee, and then I'm gonna fill you in on my thoughts on the end of Unmothers. Yes. So yeah, so hold on while we get to the couch. Also, if you hear sound, I have Gavin's vlog on. He's like reading Jan's worst books, take 2, or he's reading her worst. Last time he read her best. But that's on in the background, and I was just like running in here to grab coffee. But I will be back with thoughts on my current book and what I'm reading next. So just give me a couple minutes, Gremolinos. Back, Gremolinos. So this is the fun outfit. I'm wearing my Furby Never Sleeps shirt with like a little cardigan because it's freezing today. Lighting is gonna be what lighting is because there's a window right next to me and I'm not adjusting myself. This is like my work area. Oh, Kira's drinking now. So there will be dogs just drinking water in this whole clip. Sorry. But yeah, so I have coffee. Behold the coffee. You already saw the cup, but it's cold. The coffee's warm. I'm freezing. Okay, let's see if I can get, this might work, kind of. Okay, So I finished The Unmothers, and I'm putting it down. I liked the story overall. Like, I was enjoying it when it started. I was very into it, but over the weekend, so in case you hadn't noticed, I didn't vlog at all Saturday or Sunday. Saturday we mostly just like hung out at home. Actually, well, kind of. So Saturday we had closed vet appointment that was very early in the morning, and so we were up really early. We were out the door by like 6:30. We had to be at her vet before 8. She did get her results back. We were able to drop one of her medications, and we've added Benadryl because she's having a lot of sinus issues that we're very sure are allergies. She was on Benadryl before, like last year, but we didn't know if it would have, like, if she could take it on top of her, like, IMHA meds. So they did approve us giving her Benadryl at least before bed so she can sleep better, and we could drop her steroid down. She's only still on the antibiotic because of the nose running. They said they just want to make sure that if there is something, it'll get cleared out. So she's slowly coming off of her meds. Her red blood cell levels were like very close to good, but she'd had that upset stomach, and so they said one of her liver levels was off, but they were like she probably gave herself some kind of like pancreatitis from her stomach being upset, but her stomach's been way better. So she's doing well. But like we're so tired from getting up early that we basically just were like in bed, not really doing anything for a lot of Saturday. And then Krista ran out to Sam's Club and picked up some like grocery stuff. She had some stuff she had to do, so she was like, I'm gonna swing by. So we went to Sam's Club. I also bought groceries. Like, we did a bunch of stuff like on the way home. So the vet appointment got done at like probably 9, but like we were running so many errands. I think we got home at almost noon because we had to drive back, and then I need to go to Walmart to get us some groceries. Krista ran into Lowe's. Then we came home and we ate some like breakfast because we hadn't had anything, and then we fell asleep. I was still very tired. Like, it took me a while to fall asleep. And then Sunday was Easter. And then we had a lunch with like Krista's side of the family. And that was at like 12, and we tried to pretty much like do Chloe's stuff, and then Krista and I went back to sleep because we were both tired. And then we did that. I didn't feel well after, which does happen to me sometimes. It was a buffet and like my first meal of the day, and I just like did not feel well after. And so Krista napped for a hunk of Sunday, and I was just like not feeling well, like in and out of the bathroom, and that was basically like our whole morning. And then I didn't start feeling better until kind of later in the day, like kind of close to when we would go to bed. And Krista was like, we have to eat dinner. So we had some dinner just like at home, and then we FaceTimed my folks in Ohio, and then we basically just like went to bed. But like it was just kind of like when we didn't have to do something, we were trying to just like rest. And I literally didn't read. Like, we were either watching stuff or resting, or like I futzed around on my phone. But like I just like was not in the zone to read. So I did finish Unmothers this morning before work. I did read like a tiny bit off and on. Like, if Krista was napping and I was awake, I might read a little, but like nothing to like update you on. And I think part of that is because The Unmothers was like, it's a very interesting premise, and we get into the lore of like what's going on and like what the town believes is happening. I'm gonna grab some more coffee. Sorry, the angle's gonna get weird. And like the beliefs of the town and this whole like babies and foals and like that kind of, I'm still gonna call it a sort of fae aspect, but like the plot kind of dragged for me in the second half. I felt like it took a while for us to get any info about how all of this worked, and even then they kind of set it up as like, well, no one really knows everything, and you just like get kind of some info but not all the info. It gets relayed to you, but at that point I was just kind of like, okay, but like I want to know what's gonna happen to end this story, because they had tied in Roz and Roz's child to the mother, Emma, and like what she had done and how that was all connected, and like it worked. But also at a certain point there were so many points of view that I was just like, I don't really want all of you anymore. Like, it was interesting to a point, but then we got like a couple points of views of the horses, which didn't really help me. There was a collective, like the women at one point, to try and give us some info, but even that didn't quite do, like I didn't want those collective points of view. And at a certain point, while I know Marshall is really our main character, which is interesting, Marshall is given a majority of the story. Marshall still doesn't really understand everything that's going on. She is kind of given kind of a solution and an explanation, but we still don't really get everything through. Like, it just, I don't know. At a certain point, I'm taking another sip of coffee. Just the multiple POVs didn't feel as necessary because I wasn't getting enough info from them. And I just wanted to get to points of view that were giving me info. So like, it's an interesting premise. I like aspects of it, but something about it felt like it could be condensed, especially near the end, because I was just kind of like, ugh. Like, I just wanted to know what exactly was going on. And like, I do think the idea of it is interesting. I just like, something in me wanted it to be condensed near the end, or possibly faster paced. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. Like, aspects of it are very interesting, but just like the ending of it just like didn't do it for me. I'm sure like a lot of people would very much enjoy it, but like something about the ending just like didn't stick for me. And then there's kind of an epilogue, which I was very much not expecting. So I was like, oh, but it's not called an epilogue, but I was just kind of like, oh, interesting. Why is this here? Like, I just didn't really care. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting premise, just didn't really stick the landing for me. I am glad I read it though, because the concept is interesting. Just like, I kind of, like, it does get kind of creepy, but I just sort of wish it did more. Oh, you have a cheese bone. I was like, who is chewing? It's Kira. Chloe is napping. They just had their dentistics. But other thing, the next book that I'll be reading, and the thing that kind of motivated me to wear my Furby shirt, we're going to be reading Mason Coyle's William, which I believe, yes, is about an AI sort of robot thing that is created by an engineer named Henry. Is this my return slip? Oh yeah, this is my return slip. I saw this while I was wandering the library and I was like, oh, that sounded interesting. And because I was reading Trad Wife, The Unmothers, I was like, oh, William would fit very well because it's also about like creating a child. And in this case, our main character is a man, I believe. I don't know if there's a wife. Oh. Well, according to this, Henry has a pregnant wife named Lily. And Lily finds out about this AI robot. So there's also a pregnant woman in this. So these all tie together perfectly. The fourth book in this vlog does not. And I'm just throwing it in here because I have it. But yeah, so I'll be reading this next. It looks very quick. It's not very big. The writing's pretty, like the text is pretty big. So my goal is to read a hunk of this today. Also, I'm making dinner tonight and Kristen and I are just like having a night because she does not have night court tonight, but she does tomorrow. So I'll also be reading a lot tomorrow. But yeah, I am very curious about this one though. I love kind of a robot story, so I'm very, very intrigued to see where this goes. But I gotta go. So I will talk to you probably sometime later tonight. I'm gonna try and read during my lunch. Because I should be able to. I think Krista said she can't come home for lunch, I think. And when she doesn't come home, I typically read or sometimes take a nap if I'm really tired. But at least I think she said she's not coming home. I think we had that conversation. Yeah, that was for today. I think my brain is soup. But yeah, so I'll probably read and just try and like get a hunk of this done. I left my bookmark upstairs though, so I have to grab that. But I think that's everything. I will talk to you sometime later today, for sure, Gremolinos, even if it's just to like briefly recap you on something. Who knows? We'll see. All right, talk to you later. Hello, Gremolinos. Slightly different angle. It is after work. I actually was able to finish William. I read most of it during lunch. It's so weird to say the name of this book. William is my brother's name. But yeah, so I finished all of this. I actually finished it. I read a little after work, but I read a hunk of it during lunch. It is a very quick read. I would like, it's just a very fast read. Like it's not complicated, so you can read it like real quick. I would equate it to like novella style. I don't believe it's a novella. I think it's actually a novel, but it's so short and so fast it reads like a novella. If it is actually a novella, sorry. But yeah, William, you're not William, you're Bruni. Oh my God. Why are we all yelling? I started filming and they're all yelling at me. I'll be quick. In this, we follow Henry. Or not. Y'all, can I please talk? As soon as I'm done, we'll do things. Just let me do the thing. Oh my goodness. Good Lord. So in this, we're following Henry, who lives in like this old seeming Victorian home that's been completely made technological with his wife, Lily. Lily is pregnant, but we actually introduced 2 new people to the house. So Lily is like a tech investor or a company investor. Yeah, they're both in tech. And Lily has 2 former coworkers, but she owned the company. So the argument is they're really like people who worked for her, coming to the house to meet Henry. No one's really met him. And to do something. Henry suffers from agoraphobia and does not leave the house. But he has been inventing and creating, and he has made a number of like robots, which include William, the AI powered, robot that is, he's not fully formed. Based on this, I initially believed him to be like fully able to stand up, but William cannot. He does not have legs. He has arms and a head and some kind of torso, and he finds ways to move about in the lab area, but he does not actually have legs. And Henry kind of says he intentionally did that. He does not really trust William. But as you're reading it, things start to go haywire in the house. Henry decides to introduce these 2 guests to William. He has not even let Lily meet William, and they're all kind of surprised, and Lily's like, no, we should meet him. I think that's very interesting. We should go. I have not seen him. So they like meet him. She talks to William. She's trying to engage with William, and things from that point on get very dangerous. William seems to react oddly to meeting everyone. Some other technology starts malfunctioning, and then the house itself starts to kind of change. Things are going wrong with everything in the house. Think Smart Home, the Disney Channel movie, where there's like an AI mom running the house, and then something happens with her, and then the house starts going haywire. It's kind of akin to that. I will say, I don't know if this book is supposed to surprise you with some of the elements that occur, because I immediately was like, oh, I know how this story is going to go. And for the most part, I was correct. Like, I immediately kind of latched onto an idea and was like, this is how this is going to go. And I'm not going to tell you what that was, because I don't want to spoil this book, because if I tell you anything, it will immediately spoil really everything. Now, the ending is a touch different than I anticipated, but I do not want to spoil the ending or what may or may not be a plot twist. So the ending is in a way what I expected and also not. I can't say anything else. I will spoil it. I will just say it's a very kind of guessable book, and it's also set on Halloween. Like, the entire book takes place on Halloween night, which then allows for some things to occur that couldn't happen on like a normal Tuesday, for example, that's not a holiday. So it being on Halloween does assist the plot, so it is very intentional. But overall, the book was fine. It was a very fast read. But again, it was like, as I was going, I was like, oh, some of this is very like creepy. And there are some like, there are death scenes in this. But like, overall, because I already was like, I know a thing, and going through it was like, I know a thing, I know a thing, I know a thing, I know a thing. When we got to the point where it was, I felt like supposed to be a reveal, I was like, yes, but also I knew that. And I was like, I'm not shocked. I'm not in awe. I just, like, how are we ending this? So I was mostly reading it to see how the thing I thought was already true was going to come to be, which is a weird way to read a book, I acknowledge. But also was just what was happening. Like, I just was like, well, this is how it's going to be. So yeah, I feel like it felt a bit like a Twilight Zone episode. Technically too long in story for a Twilight Zone episode. But a bit like, oh gosh, is it The Trouble with Machines? I think that's it. There's an episode of The Twilight Zone where there's a man named Finchley who hates technology, and then all of the technology starts to go against him, and they start saying, get out of here, Finchley, over and over and over. And that episode kind of would tie into this a bit differently, because everyone is involved in tech. Like, they have tech jobs, so they're very tech connected. But yeah, it overall is just a fine quick read. Like, I think if you need a creepy Halloween book for Halloween day, like you want something fun and fast that you can read, I would recommend it, especially if you like AI or robots. It does get into a discussion of AI and the creation of AI and how something that is born of man but is not man would function, and then should technology then try and create things on its own, what that would do. So that is interesting. But yeah, I would say if you want a quick read, do it, especially if you like tech themed like Twilight Zone episodes, or if you liked Smart House, the Disney Channel movie, and want something a little scarier. I would say this is worth it. It's also, again, very quick. So yeah, I don't have the final book of this vlog in this room. So I'm gonna keep you in suspense until I actually get to it, which probably won't be until tomorrow. Just know it doesn't really have anything to do with like the theme of the other books, because all the other books were kind of like creation kind of focused in like, okay, more yelling. All of them had like family at the core. Bruni, could we not today? He's been barking at everything. Everything all day. It's very weird. Okay, I'm gonna go because they're all barking like mad. But the other books don't really have anything to do with this. You'll see it tomorrow. Hello, Gremolinos. I am in the same spot as yesterday, but it is because it's my lunch break and I'm sitting by my laptop. Krista did come home, but she could only come home for like 10 minutes. We ate these like chicken shawarma things she picked up. It was like a kit. We did that for lunch. I finally finished my coffee. But I have a book update for you. Oh, also, behold my squawk sweatshirt. This is so comfy. It's also freezing. It snowed overnight. It is supposed to be spring, and it snowed, and it's currently snowing. Winter will not leave the North Country. Actually, it's like upstatey New York, but you know, still. But I'm here with the final book. I am halfway through, but I am reading Beth is Dead by Katie Bennett, which is a retelling of Little Women set in the modern age. They very firmly inform you of that because there's a reference to, oh gosh, what was it? Oh, now I'm not gonna remember, but there are some very modern day references in here, so you know it's definitely the present. Oh, the Jeanette McCurdy book. I'm so glad my mom died. I'm so happy my mom died. Whatever that was. I didn't read it. I'm sorry. But her book is mentioned in here. So in this, we're following the different points of view of the sisters in a now and then setup. So the book opens with the New Year's Eve party that was held by Sally Gardner. Everything draws from the Little Women novel itself. So Sally Gardner is known to throw parties in that, and the March sisters periodically attend these parties. I'm gonna put this down though. So we are following the events immediately after the party. So Beth is found dead, and all of the sisters are in shock. They have no idea how this could have happened. But the interesting part here is that in the then sections, we are discussing the release of a book by the March sisters' father that was called Little Women, where he wrote a generally fictionalized version of his daughters' lives. But while he did not truly fictionalize very much, he kills Beth in his fictional version of their lives. He takes a real event, changes the ending, and makes it so his own daughter Beth is dead. And everyone who reads this book assumes Beth is dead. So the concept of Beth being dead is presented to you as a fictional concept and also as a real concept very early on. And so that's interesting. Like, Beth is Dead is a very integral to Beth herself. Not only in the fact that she is perhaps a murder mystery, they are pursuing it as a possible murder, but also she had to contend with the fact that of his 4 daughters, her father chose to kill her off in his fictional in quotes, because it does sound like it is primarily non-fiction that he insists is fiction, and then the only truly fictional aspect was killing off his daughter. So that is an interesting choice on his part. But we are following that, and we're also getting some like issues that have arisen for each of the March sisters around the release of that novel, or how the release of their father's novel impacted their lives, as well as other things that were going on for them before the death of Beth and now that Beth is dead. So we are following. What we're getting here is that everyone is kind of questioning everyone. Primarily what we're getting is Jo questions everyone's motives, which makes sense. Jo is a kind of key protagonist of Little Women, which makes sense. Jo is seemingly Louisa May Alcott, but her part in Little Women is the presentation of everyone and their thoughts and their lives. Jo is really our like storyteller. So in this, it makes sense that Jo is also the one who's questioning everything, assuming someone, like wanting to find out who did this. So Jo is kind of leading the charge in trying to solve the murder herself. And then we're also learning what has been going on in Meg's life, because Meg is at college. She has come back, of course. What's been going on with Amy, and also bits and pieces of Beth in the then sections. We are getting a Beth point of view, but it can't be in the now. We're also getting some hints at other characters that you will recognize from the original novel, but they have tweaked things. So Burnett has tweaked things in some capacity to change stuff up, make it more, I feel like, a bit more modern. There's more, I mean, there is romance in the original Little Women, but she does actually have an interesting setup for Jo. I'm presenting this because this is in the original Little Women, but Louisa May Alcott, when she was writing the story, and take this with a grain of salt because I believe this is accurate, but I could be incorrect. There was this idea that Louisa May Alcott heard that, like, had people writing in saying Jo should wind up with Laurie consistently. Like, Jo should be with Laurie, Jo should be with Laurie. And Louisa May Alcott was so annoyed and did not want to partner Jo up with anyone that she literally has Laurie get with Amy just so people would shut up about her pairing him with Jo, because she had no intention of Jo being partnered with anyone. That was like her whole thing. I mean, Jo does get with someone, but it's a much different partner than everyone else. If you read Little Women, you do know that Jo does get married, but Jo marries a much older man, and it is a seemingly more similar minds kind of relationship, whereas Amy is actually pursuing marriage and having children. Jo is a bit more like the aunt sort of figure, like she wishes to care for children, but it does not seem like her goal is to have children of her own. So I'm just throwing that out there. But in this story, Jo is actually discussing how she's trying to make herself want to be with Laurie, because Laurie is her dearest friend and she actually does not want him to be with Amy. And that's not really a thing. I mean, a touch, but Jo is not interested in Laurie in that way in Little Women ultimately. So I do find it interesting that in this, we're getting that aside, that Jo does want to try and be with Laurie. So I found that interesting. We are getting a different side of Beth than in the original. So it is, I feel like a bit of this is also a critique of Beth in Little Women itself, the original novel, because in that, Beth is shown as kind of the perfect angel of the home. She cares for people, and that caring is ultimately what leads to her eventual death in that. I'm not going to get into all of that, but in this, Burnett has given Beth more agency. She has her own relationships. She has things going on that the family is tangentially aware of, but she does feel like she's being given more character by this author, just in terms of wanting to do more than just like help the family. She is trying to like build a life for herself, and it seems like that was happening up until the whole Beth is dead point. So yeah, I am enjoying it. It is YA, so I'm reading it very quickly. And again, Little Women actually can be categorized as YA. I don't know if it always is, but like it is a book that younger audiences could read. I feel like it's a kind of all ages classic, because nothing too intensive occurs in this. What I do find interesting is we get a lot more mention of the March father than we do in Little Women. I feel like Marmee is the key character in, like, the key parent. The father is seemingly kind of always away, and we're getting more discussion of him. He is in the original, I think he's a reverend. I believe he's a reverend. It's been a minute. I did read it last year, and I'm trying to remember. He's like a religious person, because he goes off to war, but not to fight. Is what I remember. And in this, he is an author. Like, his only thing in life has been being an author, being a writer. So I'm curious to see how this ends. I do think I will finish it today. Krista does have night court. That's why she tried to at least come home and get some food. She also left with a tiny container of cookies, so she at least has something to snack on before court. But yeah, so I will fill you in when I finish this. Oh, my bookmark's flinging about. But the cats both looked at it like, what? Binks and Bane are sitting on top of me. Well, Binks is on top of me, Bane is under my computer desk. But yes, so I'm gonna read more of this. I will let you know. This one, again, is kind of a stretch to fit in this vlog because I feel like everything was like mothers and creation, and this is more family, though it is Little Women, so it's like sisters, their mom, and in some capacity there's a creation element involved here because there is the telling of Little Women in a book. They have also discussed Jo being asked to possibly write her own version of Little Women, which is interesting, and does kind of make sense because I was like, wait a minute, we are letting the father have been the one to write Little Women? Like, I was very upset when I read it at first. I was like, oh, I see what we're doing. But took me a sec. But I'm gonna go. I will talk to you when I finish this and to close out the video. So yeah, see you in the final clip, Grumelinos. It is after work, Grumelinos. I am very cold. I did outs. I then had to go back outside because I did a litter box. I cleaned one of them earlier, but I had to do our upstairs one. So my nose is very red and very cold. I also have some very exciting diet fake Dr. Pepper in a cup because I needed something to drink and I thought caffeine would be helpful. But I am here because I finished Beth is Dead. So I don't know if I mentioned why I picked this up. So one, I do like Little Women a lot. I was obsessed with the movie where Winona Ryder is Jo. I watch that all the time. Although that movie always makes me think of winter, so I always just associate Little Women with winter. But I saw this when I went to that bookstore in town that opened. They really didn't have a lot of books, but this was on like a display shelf, I think because it was a new release. But I'm not sure they knew it was YA because it was just kind of like lumped in with a bunch of other books. I don't know. And I was like, I saw something on it and I was like, this sounds interesting, but I don't think I want to buy it. And while I did enjoy the reading experience, I am glad I didn't buy it because I don't think I would read this again, which is not anything against the book. It's just one of those mystery books where like once you know the ending and like everything that happens, I don't know that I would enjoy it as much on reread. Some mysteries you can reread them. I think this one just is not a reread one. Now Little Women itself, definitely a reread. And I do think the author, Katie Burnett, I have to look at her name when I say it, or I'm gonna say Bennett, did a very good job. There is a review on here, like on the book itself, like a blurb, I'll put this down, that says that you could read it if you haven't read Little Women and you would still very much enjoy it. I think that is true, but I think you'll miss a lot if you haven't read Little Women because there are a lot of recreated scenes in this that are directly from Little Women itself. And there are elements of like Easter egg characters. So I just think like you should read it or perhaps even watch one of the adaptations before you read this. If you're interested. It is, again, YA. So just keep that in mind if you're not like super into YA. The mystery is, it's well handled, but as you're reading it, you will probably figure it out if you're trying. They establish a motive for a number of characters pretty early on, but as the story is going, it does boil down to like, you can probably guess. So it does handle the mystery well. It does handle the now and then stuff very well. I will say once we get near the end of the book, the Beth elements take on a Lovely Bones-esque presentation. And that's all I'm going to say. Because I feel like if I say too much, it'll spoil some stuff. But we do not, I will say we don't get any nows from Beth. I just need you to know that. Beth is only ever presented in the then. But it did, in some aspects, near the end, remind me a bit of Lovely Bones, which I have not read in years. But I'm just throwing that out there. Again, it was enjoyable. The story ties up very quickly. So we're like following everyone. Everyone is a suspect. They include a scene from Little Women that is rewritten. Oh, look, my battery's dying, so it's good. To set Jo up as a suspect, which they say all the sisters wind up being suspects on the synopsis, but it takes a while for that to occur. But like, that is part of the writing of the story. We don't get detective points of view, we only get the sisters, and we don't get anything point of view wise from the mother. Their mom does appear periodically, but not very often. Again, I do think it's fun if you've read Little Women before and you like Little Women. Outside of that, I mean, I'm biased because I like Little Women, so I enjoyed it as like a fun time, a fun take on the story. But like, if you haven't read Little Women, I do think you could enjoy it. I just don't know that you will enjoy it as deeply, maybe. But it is like a fun, like, YA mystery with a lot of sister dynamics in it. So overall, I enjoyed it. I am glad, again, that I did not buy it just because it is YA, and so I read it incredibly quickly. And I just don't see myself gravitating towards reading it again. But I would recommend it if you like YA specifically, and if you like Little Women. I think if you like Little Women and you want an easy breezy read and you're just curious, go ahead and read it. But it does read very YA, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I think it was a solid debut. It was a good retelling. It was a fun time. So yeah, I enjoyed all the books. I enjoyed Trad Wife the most, which is incredible. I truly was just excited to read Trad Wife, and these all like fit in, so everything was going to be overshadowed by Trad Wife anyway. I'm gonna try and get this video up pretty quickly because I want to share all of my thoughts on Trad Wife because I love that book so much. I had such a fun time, but this is dying. So like, subscribe, all that jazz. Also on Instagram, @ClefGoEverAfter. And I will see you in the next one, Grandma Lee knows. Bye.